I hereby call this meeting of Committee of the Whole to order on September 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Clerk, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy.
Present.
Macias.
Present.
Razak.
Present.
Timian.
Present.
Finch.
Present.
McNeil.
Present.
Castro.
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
Do we have any electronic attendance this evening?
None that we're aware of.
Next is public comment. Chief Galt, has anyone signed up to give a public comment?
No, Your Honor.
We have one oath of office this evening for regular commissioned appointment as police officer Tanner Gillespie, effective September 3rd, 2025. Chief Galt?
Oh, right here. All right, well, thank you very much for the time this evening. As you guys know, this is a very fun time for me to be able to introduce you to new police officers. I'd like you to welcome Tanner Gillespie to the Moline Police Department. Tanner's a native of the Quad City area and a graduate of the Rock Ridge High School. After high school, he earned a bachelor's degree in agricultural science from Western Illinois University. He brings valuable experience to the city of Moline with time working at the Scott County Jail as a correctional officer, and he previously was a police officer in Columbia, Missouri for 5 years. So he came to Moline under our new lateral entry program. Additionally, he proudly serves in the Illinois National Guard, where he's served for 12 years as a field artillery crew chief with the Alpha Battery 123rd Field Artillery in Moline. Tanner began his role in September of 2024, and he's completed probation. He's joined here with some wonderful family members, his wife Megan, his son Walker, his daughter Jovi, and Lenora. And Mayor Pro Tem, if you would, come forward and administer the oath of office.
I, Tanner Gillespie,
I, Tanner Gillespie,
have been duly appointed as a police officer for the city of Moline, Illinois.
having been duly appointed as a police officer for the city of Moline, Illinois,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
will strictly adhere to the complied statute of the state of Illinois,
will strictly adhere to the compiled statutes of the state of Illinois,
Moline Code of Ordinance, and any Illinois rules of professional conduct applicable,
the Moline Code of Ordinances, and any Illinois rules of professional conduct applicable
to police administration, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of police officer for the city of Moline,
to police administration, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the position of police officer for the city of Moline,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
All right, I'm going to do my best impression of a parent here. A little while since that's a lot of responsibility.
No pressure, Chief.
Yeah.
At least he remembers how.
Now, I will let you guys stand. Shake everybody's hand. Okay. If you guys want to stay there, I'm going to move this, and I'll give you your child. So we'll get a couple family photos for your Christmas cards.
Congratulations, welcome on board. Great day.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, welcome aboard. Congratulations.
All right. All right, congratulations. Congratulations. All right, thank you very much.
We now move to our board appointment. We have the mayor's appointment of Cynthia Green to the Human Rights Commission for a full 2-year term to expire on August 31st, 2027. Any questions? Our presentation this evening is the recognition of Barbara "Barb" Sandberg for her outstanding dedication and years of service to the Moline community. Barbara Sandberg has devoted decades of extraordinary service to the city of Moline, beginning as a charter member of the Moline Preservation Society in 1986, serving continuously in leadership roles. In 1991, she served as the first ward alderperson, helping draft Moline Historic Preservation Ordinance, and held key appointments, including the Historic Preservation Commission for 30 years and the Commercial Facade Improvement Committee for 31 years. Barbara has been a tireless advocate for preserving Moline historical sites, including the 1880s Commercial District, now John Deere Commons, the John Deere House, the LeClaire Hotel, and the Brick Street, while authorizing educational publications and leading programs to celebrate the city's heritage. Beyond preservation, Barbara has improved the community through projects such as advocating for the construction of a neighborhood sidewalk in 2024 and volunteering to care for 4 riverfront gardens in 2025, demonstrating her dedication for both the safety and beauty of Moline. Now, therefore, I, Jessica Finch, Mayor Pro Temp of the City of Moline, on behalf of the City Council and citizens of Moline, proudly present Barbara Sandberg with the key to the city in recognition of her remarkable service and lasting contribution to our community.
I feel like I'm getting married.
The key to the City of Moline presented to Barbara "Barb" Sandberg with heartfelt appreciation for your tireless advocacy and steadfast support of the City of Moline. September 9th, 2025. Thank you.
Oh, even Lagos. Can I say it? Yeah. Wow, guys, this is incredible. I'm overwhelmed, to say the least. Not speechless, though. This has been a long time working for the city, and I've worked with so many neat people. Your staffing has been so cooperative over the years. I've had, 3 or 4 mayors along the way as well. Everybody had a single goal, and that was to make Moline better. And to be part of that, you can't ask for any more than that. I will say that I've got a little story to tell you. When I sat where Deb's sitting, back in 1991, the topic was riverboat gambling. Now, that shows how old I am, right? The boats are gone and they're back up on the land now. But anyway, it was very controversial in some respects because Moline wasn't as eager to get into it as Davenport and Rock Island were. And the council had to make the decision, is this something that we wanted to do or not? And they chose not to. But the other issue that was also a hot button was the building of a civic center. That I got in on some biggies here, I'll tell you. And the civic center, they've been talking about whose city was it gonna be in? Well, Moline has a couple of ideas of places to put it, and they decided this was a good time to step forward. So half the people supporting this issue wanted it at 7th Street on Blackhawk Road, which then was a farm area down there. And the other people said, no, we're going to put it where the factories used to be that are demolished now, right on the riverfront. And that's going to bring back the downtown, because that was the other issue. What do we do? Everybody's gone to the mall. The downtown was dying. So now you know what happened, don't you? Because we have a fantastic civic center that we in Moline can be very, very proud of. But with the civic center came parking. And this is when the preservation people stepped forward and said, the parking, whoa, 10,000 people seating in this arena, you're gonna need a big parking lot. And the thoughts were, how big and where? Well, that meant taking down all the 1880s commercial property if they were gonna put it right beside Civic Center. And preservationists, and I've got quite a few of them here tonight, that we were all in the fight to say that, you know, if you take down all those historic buildings, you've got nothing for people to do after they leave or come and go to the Civic Center. And parking lots do not generate revenue. So I even went to the National Trust. I said, help, what can you do to give me some argument to tell the council people that it would be better if we saved the buildings and made scattered parking where people are walking through the area, stopping at the restaurants and stopping at the bars or the shops or whatever. And I can tell you that the vote was not unanimous, but it went the right way. And I think that we all would agree that John Deere Commons has been a great asset for the city of Moline. And I'm proud to say I was part of it. So thank you very much. I am overwhelmed.
Thank you.
If anybody is interested, there is a reception over on the other side of the park, so when you're done, please join us. Is it free? Are we free to go?
Yes. Start your party now.
We want a party.
Moving to questions on the agenda, items 9.6 and 21.1 will be pulled tonight from the agenda. Does anyone have any further questions about the agenda this evening? We're now moving on to the committee of the whole agenda.
We just wait a moment, but things clear.
Oh, everybody's going.
They're all going to the party in here. We said.
Okay.
Okay, so it is an argument. Okay, it'll come up. Okay.
Nicely done.
I don't think this is my.
Then that's even, it's a good thing. Yeah, okay.
Like my lost your size. It's 9.6 and one.
Wow.
Just ended way down the wires there. So it makes good sense. Come back. Do it again.
Okay. Moving to questions on the agenda, items 9.6 and 21.1 will be pulled tonight from the agenda. Does anyone have any other questions about the agenda this evening? We are now moving to our committee of the whole agenda items. Item 9.1, an ordinance amending Chapter 23, Parks and Recreation of the City of Moline Code of Ordinance, Article 2, Operations of Park and Recreational Facilities, Section 23-2102, Rules of Conduct applicable to all parks by repealing subsection 7 in its entirety and enacting in lieu therefore of One new subsection 7 relating to the same subject matter to allow non-for-profit for sale, possession, and consumption of alcoholic beverages in compliance with section 43-3309, Class 1 special event not for profit license through a special use application approved by the Moline Park Board. Mr. Griffith?
This is an update to allow nonprofits through the special use application to have alcohol in the parks. So they would have to submit an application to the park board, and they'd also have to submit an application for a nonprofit license through the city clerk's office. In the past, there have been events that have had alcohol, and one of them being the Belgian Fest, and we are looking to update this and not allowing everyone in the general public, but making sure that like groups like nonprofits are able to have that with the right, dram shop insurance, special use application, all the approvals essentially. So.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Alderperson Schmidt and Castilla, or
Castro.
Castro.
All right.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Your Honor.
Wait, oh, sorry, I was just reading off the paper.
He was first.
Mr. Timian?
Is there, legal counsel, is there a issue of, I don't know the right word I'm looking for. I don't know if it's slippery slope or if it's just like equitable, like, can we allow this for one group and not others?
Right.
Okay. thank you.
Essentially, what we're doing for the parks is to allow the same groups that would be able to, say, have an event at Bass Street Landing to be able to have an event in the park with alcohol. There is no problem with us limiting it to not-for-profits for this particular license because it mirrors what we've already done with other licensing for other public events.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Macias?
And is this only for the parks, not the pool?
Correct. This is just for, yes, and then it does not for Green Valley.
From Green Valley?
Yeah, so Green Valley, we currently sell alcohol.
Okay.
We don't, a nonprofit wouldn't have a special event at the swimming pool. The only thing that we would allow is like a private rental, and alcohol isn't allowed at this.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
This would allow there to be an event at the pool, though.
We don't allow events at the pool like that.
Sure. We don't currently allow events at the pool. This ordinance would put in place that if the park board approved it, going through that process, it would allow for an event. According to this ordinance, there are other policies that prevent it at this time. It clearly states on any property under the jurisdiction of the park board, other than Green Valley. So this would include the pool if other policies are not preventing it.
So
If I might, clearly, if the council wishes, the council could exclude the Riverslide Park pool from being utilized where alcohol could be sold. It's preventing it. So it'd be an exclusion to all other properties managed and owned and operated by the park and rec department.
I was not necessarily proposing that we added it, simply pointing out the fact that it is allowable. I was just weighing in on the factual matter.
I think that's the way the discussion was held with city staff, and I guess that was probably just an oversight on my part about not having it at the swimming pool.
There would be no problem with adding in that language. The way that we were looking at it is that the park board simply would not allow an event with alcohol at the pool. But you are correct under the actual wording of this particular ordinance. If the park board decided to allow it, it could happen. I'm relatively certain the park board wouldn't allow it, but if you wanted to take a belt and suspenders approach, you could change it so that it's not just Green Valley accepted, but also the pool, in order to make sure that it is not allowed in the pool.
I would,
Mr. Macias?
I would guess if somebody wants to do it at the, right now they can't because you don't allow it. So is that a procedure or just a rule that you have, or is it in the park board? How is that
Well,
applied?
because we are not able to sell it, you can't have alcohol in city parks. And Riverside is part of the park.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm trying to think like unless, yeah,
And then
what
if-
would cause like somebody to kind of,
you
if the board approves it, could they circumvent and basically do it at some point? Not that they're going to, and frankly, I'm not opposed to having it at the pool. I was just wondering.
The way this is structured, they have to get both the license through this board in order to have the ability to sell the alcohol, to serve alcohol at a place in the park. In addition to that, they need to get permission from the park board for the use of that area at the same time. So they need to get two separate permissions.
Gotcha.
Right now, the park board would not allow it in the pool area. If you wanted to make it part of this ordinance as well, saying it can't be in, is it Riverslide?
Riverside.
Yeah. If you wanted to add it to the language here that it would not be allowed in Green Valley or Riverslide, you could do that, and then it wouldn't matter whether the park board later changed their policy or not. This would prohibit it. So it's just a matter of whether you want it to be your prohibition or their prohibition on whether you make that additional wording change.
Is it the staff's intention and recommendation that we exclude alcohol from Riverslide?
That was the conversation that we had with it. We don't
Water and
allow outside.
alcohol are a bad combination. And I would recommend against it strongly.
I make a motion to amend the ordinance, adding after Green Valley, the words or Riverside.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion.
Mr. Schmidt?
I think this is one where just making it the more secure option of putting it in the ordinance, because policies can change at a future date. I understand this park board wouldn't do it, but
On the amendment.
if we want to make a policy that lasts longer than that, the ordinance is our mechanism.
And the second was by Timmy?
Correct.
Mr. Timmy. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Or any opposed?
You will need to take a vote on the motion as amended.
So, what do I need to say?
We had not prepared for the possibility of, you'll need to just call another vote on the motion as amended at this point.
Can I get another vote on the amendment? Another vote? Right?
A motion.
The motion
Motion
is
on-
made, you just have to ask us to vote.
All in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Pass.
There you go.
Okay. Item 9.2, resolution approving a special event that is sponsored by Ruse Counseling Consulting Group, Inc. for RCG 30th Anniversary Block Party, event scheduled on Thursday, September 25th, 2025, closing certain streets, more particularly described herein to vehicular traffic and authorized to the use of public right-of-way in conjunction with said event. Mr. Vitas.
Yes.
Beg your pardon, Mr. Vitas, Your Honor. Rouse Consulting Group is a client of mine, and I will be recusing myself.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And Mayor and Council, staff is recommending approval of the special event request by Roos Consulting Group, Inc. to celebrate their 30th anniversary and hold their block party event, thereby closing 4th Street A during the course of the event.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Macias and Ms. Castro. Any discussions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 9.3, resolution authorizing the Director of Public Works to execute an application for funding under the Rock Island County Waste Management Agency, RCMA, for the Solid Waste Assistance Grant SWAG Program FY '26 for the amount of $42,985 to be used for the solid waste management, recycling, or education-related activities within the community, and authorizing the Director of Public Works to do all things necessary to complete and submit the application. Mr. Schmidt?
Thank you. Good evening. Annually, we submit an application to the county for the SWAG grant. We use these funds typically for neighborhood cleanups, recycling, activities, and supplies. So again, we're requesting to submit this application. The dollar amount is based on per capita, so it's pretty standard for us for this amount. I will mention that the application is actually due tomorrow, so I'll be presenting this again for City Council approval as well.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Timian and Castro. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.4, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an intergovernmental agreement with the Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, to mow and maintain state right-of-way within the city. Mr. Schmidt, will you introduce this item?
Of course, yes, thank you. So this is a 10-year agreement. This is similar to one that engineering department presented a few months ago. That was for road maintenance. This is more for, I guess, off-road maintenance with mowing, other types of smaller maintenance activities. So this will be for 10 years again. We are going to use the state's formula for reimbursement. So we'll be reimbursed quarterly for this, for these activities, essentially.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Timian and Schmidt. Any discussion? Mr. Timian?
You mentioned this is similar to the road maintenance, and I remember we're paying pennies on the dollar. Is that similar to this as well?
I would say yes.
Okay. I know we outsourced some of this work last year. I had the idea of maybe, because I understand they're dangerous areas, getting another remote mower so we don't have to outsource and we could do it in-house.
That is something that we will consider, yeah.
I just, if we're spending all this money anyway,
Yeah,
you know.
it would take another staff member to use that equipment, but that's something we can obviously evaluate.
I mean, we can seriously take a look at a lot of alternatives when it comes to mowing the state right of way, because in some places it's a big job, in some places it's really small. If you look at the attached maps.
It's just that it's like a 30-degree angle in some places, and it's on an interstate or 27th Street. It's just not as safe, which is why we outsource.
Right,
But,
and remote control mowers actually can go up to 50
45.
degrees.
Oh, okay. So
50
that
degrees.
case in point. Yeah.
And we have one, and we use it,
Correct.
we use it pretty effectively. Happy to look at that, but
Yeah.
we're trying to control the budget.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Item 9.5, a resolution approving the special event application for the annual lighting on the Commons scheduled for Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, closing certain streets, more particularly described herein the vehicular traffic, and authorizing the use of public property in conjunction with said event for the use and purpose more particularly described in Exhibit A and B. Mr. Vitas?
Staff is recommending approval of the annual event on the lighting on the Commons for Saturday, November 22nd, 2025, and hope to see you all there. It's a great event for the young people of the community.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Castro and Rosado. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That item passes, that motion passes. Item 9.6 was pulled. 9.7, an ordinance amending Chapter 22, offenses miscellaneous of the Moline Code of Ordinance, Section 22-1105, tobacco products, tobacco accessories, smoking herbs, and alternative nicotine products by increasing the number of Class C head shop license in the city of Moline at the request of AAA Retailers LLC, Yodaba Dabas. Mr. Atkinson?
This one is basically combined with the next one. I'm going to give you a little information regarding both of them at the same time, and if there are questions, I'll address it again on 9.8. But essentially, Yabba Dabba's was closing down. They had a Class C license. A buyer came forward when they announced that they were closing. So this is actually a new entity taking over the existing Class C license, so that will not increase the number of Class C licenses. It will move from the former owner of Yabba Dabba's to the new business doing business as Yabba Dabba's. Because of the fact that there was a desire to also have a Class B license, it had to come forward for that as well. So this will be both a head shop and a seller of tobacco. At least that's the request that's before you. So first you've got the head shop Class C, and then the next one you will be addressing is part of the same business plan to have both a Class C and a Class B license at that same location.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ruzak and Schmidt. Any discussions?
So I think with this one, it's important to also discuss the context of two blocks there, 4,300 and 4,400 blocks of Avenue of the Cities. So earlier this year, we opened the 5th smoke and vape shop and head shop within 2 blocks. And so we have quite a concentration there. And it's probably, I've heard from more of my neighbors about that being an issue. We don't have diversity in business, right? We don't have businesses that we desire to walk to. And I'm not singling out any one of those businesses. I just think there's too many. And so when I talk to my neighbors, the only thing I could really explain, because most of these businesses came in, before the cap, well, all of them came in before the cap, was that the only thing that can happen to help us chip away is one of them to close. So when we saw that one was closing, it wasn't that we were hoping that this business would close, but we were hoping that one business might close, or maybe another, so that we can add other businesses, other different businesses. So I know we often treat this as a renewal, but it is a new license for a new business owner, so I'm not inclined to approve either.
Mr. Timmy?
I do agree with Mr. McMahon. I agree with him.
Mr. Timmy?
For clarity, they currently have a Class C and are asking for a new C and a B.
Correct.
And the moratorium is Class A. Okay, thank you.
I feel like if someone has already purchased the building, somebody's already purchased the business, and because it already had that same license, I feel like we should extend the license to someone else because they've already bought the business, thinking that they're going to be able to continue as they had. Don't necessarily know if this is probably for the next one, don't know if I'm necessarily inclined to add a different license, but I think that we should extend the license that they currently have.
Yep. I do agree there are too many of these shops in that location, but I think that's a problem that we're dealt and have worked to prevent from continuing to spread. But I have a very hard time putting a mechanism in place that stops a local business from making a sale. And if we're going to do that, as we have done with the gambling dens, then it needs to have an adequate sunset so that these people can plan and be made aware. I think it's unfair to both the new potential owner and the current owner for us to step in so abruptly without any sort of warning. They know that piece is there. I'm going to have some questions as we approach the second license, but in the case of continuing, I think that it sends a really bad message for us not to allow that.
Anyone else? Mr. Tenner?
I'm just kind of spitballing here since we're discussing. For liquor Class C, we put a distance requirement between resellers of liquor. Is that something we might want to consider for these kind of, so that when one closes, they can't unless it is further apart? Like, and that is a better mechanism that's a little bit more equitable and can be planned on. This is kind of just an idea for the future, as a way to kind of prevent this extreme density that we have.
We do have significantly more regulation with regards to alcohol than we do with regards to tobacco. The regulations that we have for alcohol licenses are substantially more detailed than what we require for tobacco retailers. So there are a number of things that we could import from our alcohol licensing into the tobacco licensing if that was the will of the council.
I think we can explore those opportunities, though I think setting something up to say, well, if one of you ever folds, you can't sell one of you could sell your business, but the other can't. I really hesitate to create that sort of a scenario. To me, it's either shut it down or don't.
Right.
And that also, I think, that particular mechanism would create problems at the Hy-Vee versus the Hy-Vee gas station. Or if we have two gas stations neighboring to each other, which are businesses that would traditionally be where you would expect these. So I always open to looking at those opportunities to regulate, but just being careful that we're not causing unintended consequence.
Any other discussion?
Am I allowed to add something? May I? Just an additional piece of information. The purchaser of the business is intending to keep the business the same. And so when they applied for the Class B at renewal, they actually have already been selling tobacco. They were classified as a C license when we started the new caps, but they did not receive both a C and B at the time. But they are continuing the same operations as before, which is why they wanted to come into compliance and applied for both this time. I thought that was important to note, just because they're not changing anything in their business plan from the previous owners.
And thank you for that. I knew that they were only renewing the one, but I forgot that they had actually been operating questionably legally as both. We had, as you might all recall, with regards to Class Cs, we had people grandfathered in when the Class C was authorized, and so there were questions of what category of license individuals were actually in when they came up for renewal this time. So this one, we had categorized as a Class C, but they had actually been operating as a Class B and C.
Would it be more appropriate to engage in further conversation on that on the next item or this time? Because I have a lot of questions about that particular issue. In fact, I was going to ask about that on the next item. Or should we just do it all in one?
I think that we can address, in terms of discussion, we can address all of this at the same time. It is one request, essentially, for two separate licenses, but it's a single business plan. So I believe that these are very much intertwined with each other, what it is that's being requested.
Mr. Schmidt?
So you, Brandy, addressed the start of what I was going to ask about in that if this business should have been classified when we introduced the licensing as a B and a C, truthfully. That would have been the correct classification for that. However, was that because they were previously operating with a class, what would have been the Class B at the time? Or were they operating without a license as an unlicensed head shop before we licensed head shops, but were in non-compliance for their tobacco sales. Because that to me is a very, if the mistake was made and that they used to have that license and we introduced it, we gave them the wrong one, we didn't tell them to do both, that's kind of on us. And I think we allowed them in. If they never applied for the initial one and we said, hey, you have to sign up as a head shop, when they should have been both, then that's a different conversation.
I can speak to that, I think. When the caps were introduced in the classes, the 3 classes, each establishment that existed was assigned into one of those classes. We didn't, the clerk's office didn't do the assigning, but there was no dual license holders at that time. Each establishment was placed into what we thought was the appropriate category. When it came time for renewal in April, the current owner of Yabba Dabba's applied for renewal as a B and a C. So they truthfully stated on the affidavit that that's what they wanted, but they didn't hold a B at that time. They were only classified as a C by the city.
Did they hold a tobacco license before we introduced classifications?
Yes. Okay. They were one of the current original Cs.
That was my question.
Given that they held since they had a tobacco license, and the fact that they're not a B and a C, truthfully sounds to me like it's just a matter of the system got a little confusing and drove through as we introduced the classifications. I would support giving them both to continue in the business as it has been. One of my biggest pieces here was figuring out if that was the case or if they had been skirting the law before and now we're trying to benefit from that, but it doesn't sound like that's the case. This is a fairly straightforward business transfer in my eyes.
Any other discussion?
I'm in agreement with what you're saying because we cannot hold the new owner responsible for something that we should have caught or we should have classified. So,
Just in general, would it be a fair statement to say that we're struggling to regulate these businesses with licenses? Whether they have the proper license or license at all?
I can tell you that with regards to the licensing, we have had some classification issues that are troubling, but whether struggling to regulate them at all is appropriate, I don't know that is fair. To say that we're in some ways having some issues, like for instance with regards to the classification, absolutely. But struggling to regulate them at all sounds like we're really achieving nothing, and I would not go close to that far in a critique of what the city has been doing with regards to tobacco licenses.
Do we know, is there a way, I mean, do we know that the other businesses were classified correctly when they were assigned out? I mean, is anyone checking on that or making sure that they have the appropriate licenses? And if not, we probably should be.
And I would agree that we should look into that more closely, and I believe that Stephanie and Brandy have both been making sure that we have all of the appropriate information from each of the licenses that comes up for renewal. And that's how we became aware that there was this problem on this particular one. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, what you're seeing is kind of an example of us checking the work previously done and finding out there was a problem and bringing it to your attention. This is one where, had it been classified correctly under the tobacco ordinance, you actually would never have seen it because there simply would have been a purchase of the existing LLC, and that would have been it. There wouldn't have been anything for you to do. However, when I looked over this with Brandy and Stephanie, I said, with the information we have here, they've been regulated as a C, but they're clearly operating as a B and a C. We can't just let them buy the LLC and keep going. This needs to come before the city council. So while it's a little embarrassing to admit that there was this misclassification, what you're seeing is actually us correcting a mistake.
Thank you.
Alderperson Timian.
I think embarrassing is too much. We knew that there would be a lot of cleanup after we instituted these, and I remember us discussing over months and years, things would sort into their proper. We were expecting some miscategorizations and whatnot. So I think this is just an example of that. And we went from one generic license to specific licenses, and it wasn't going to be perfect, and we knew that.
Yeah, and along similar lines, I think that if we have any challenges in regulation, it's that we were not regulating. And we've made two fairly serious updates in the last 3 or so years, and that have become more stringent over time, and I just think that's the right approach, to do that slowly, and if we do find a true problem, we can tighten it. But that's better than choking down so harshly from the start.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Who said nay?
Two nays.
Okay, two. All right, that,
5-2.
that motion passes. Okay, item 9.8, an ordinance amending Chapter 22, offenses miscellaneous of the Moline Code of Ordinance, Section 22-1105, tobacco products, tobacco accessories, smoking herbs, and alternative nicotine products by increasing the number of Class B incidental tobacco dealer licenses in the city of Moline at the request of AAA Retailers LLC, Yo Dabba Dabbas. Mr. Atkins?
If there are any further questions, I'll gladly address them, but I think we've pretty well exhausted the discussion aspect of this.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Castro? Got that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
That motion passes. Item 9.9, an ordinance amending Chapter 35 zoning and land development of the Moline City, the Code of Ordinances regarding zoning text amendments, Article 3, zoning, Division 9, Moline Center District, Section 35-3909, review procedures to allow for more building design flexibility for non-conforming buildings in the Moline Center District.
Thank you. So we were here probably about a month ago talking about the City Services Center. At that time, we told you when that appeal went through that we would be coming back to you with amendments to our form-based code to for all intents and purposes, remove non-conforming buildings, which are basically existing buildings in our form-based code. So what you have before you now makes amendments to 35-3909, which is that section of the form-based code that deals with non-conforming buildings. And as you can see, it basically reroutes all those back to our other sections of the zoning code that deal with building design. So my staff got right on this, came up with the language, got the notices in the paper, and this went to our plan commission, who recommended approval. So we're asking for your approval as well on this, so we can get those changes made. This will help us with some buildings that are currently being renovated right now in our downtown.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Alderperson Schmidt. Mercedes. Yep. No, Mercedes.
Oh, Macias, okay.
Any discussion? Mr. Timian?
Chris, if this is only for, and this is maybe a broad interpretation, if existing buildings are exempt, isn't most of downtown built out? Isn't it filled with existing buildings?
Right. I mean, you could argue, I guess, that there's a lot of parking lots and a lot of places to build.
Fair.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, we're talking about the buildings that are already there. But like I told you at that time, I can't in good faith say if the city can't meet this, I can't advise that the private property owner be having those requirements.
Was this unanimous at Plan Commission? All right.
That's true.
Schmidt?
I don't remember any. I will say that I know Craig Loken had some reservations to it, right? And so the initial, I do remember him being the one that's kind of like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? But I already kind of said my piece on this. So.
Thank you for bringing it forward and being so forthright about the city recommendation. I mean, that was something that I felt strongly about at the time, and appreciate the following through and taking it. We need to be encouraging that development, and while I understand their advantage to the form-based code, I think we need to be honest with ourselves about the disadvantages and keep the good and let the bad go sooner rather than later. So thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.10, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an independent contractor agreement for the professional services with the Lamar Johnson Collaborative, Inc., an Illinois corporation, LJC, to develop the Moline Comprehensive Plan update. Mr. Mathias.
Yeah, so really happy to be starting this process. As the folks know, we have a couple of the alderpersons that were actually on our review committee, so you know that we were really trying to get this going quickly, find the best consultant, and then get this because we know this is an important project for the city council to get our comp plan updated. So we had 14 consultants that applied for our RFP. As you can see, you know, the price points range anywhere from mid 100s to up over 300,000. We really tried to really zone in on what the city council and what the plan commission want. And so I think the members of the council who are also on the committee would agree with me that LJC really stood out as the consultant that understood the most what this city council and this plan commission are looking to do in terms of have more density in your neighborhoods, look at some creative zoning options, keep an eye out for our commercial districts. So understanding all those elements we have in the RFP, we felt that LJC did a good job with that. The scope is also attached, so you can see that this is effectively a 13 to 14 month process. So that's with us going right at this immediately. But we're excited to begin the process and asking for your approval of this contract.
Motion to approve.
By Timian?
Second.
Second? Macias. Any discussion? Mr. Timian?
Very excited about LJC. I think they were great. I had a question. This is kind of reaching back about 3 years now. We were, and I just want to double check. I know it's in the RFP here. They will be doing the multimodal plan also.
Right.
Okay. We originally had them separate, then we voted to combine them, and I just wanted to make sure that was within the scope of work.
Yeah, so I'd like it to actually be within the comp plan itself, be called out as the plan.
Right.
But we all know that a comp plan would have a multimodal component to it anyway.
Right.
But yes, that's obviously a goal of the city council that we want to keep going. And whether it means updating that Moline bike plan or just removing the bike plan and replacing it with this other thing.
Right.
Not a question, just a comment. I just want to thank Chris and staff for the process. I appreciated being involved in the first round of review and the interviews. I thought too, I agree. I think we picked the right consultant together, and again, kudos to your staff.
But I think it was obvious where we didn't even have to talk about it really. I think everybody kind of just noticed that. So, but thank you for that, and thank you all for participating because I know we were being. I know there were a lot of emails coming out in those 2-3 weeks. So.
Yep.
Anyone else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 911, a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute and attest to the licensing agreement with Bent River Co. for the use of the parking lot west and 4th Avenue A alley between 17th and 18th Street to sell alcoholic liquor in conjunction with the Rouge Consulting Group 30th anniversary block party on September 25th, 2025.
Motion to.
Your Honor. Rouse Consulting Group is a client of mine, and I will be recusing myself.
Thank you. Mr. Vitas?
Staff is recommending approval.
Motion to approve.
All right.
Second.
Mr. Macias? And then Castro. Any discussion?
Need a motion, second.
Oh. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Item 9.12, a resolution approving the 2026 to 2029 strategic plan goals and objectives. Mr. Vitas.
Yes, well, thank you very much for your participation earlier this summer, back on June 10th, when we had our first work session to start on the process of preparing a new strategic plan for the next 4 years. So for fiscal year 26 through fiscal year 2029. Following the council's work session, there was an opportunity for the department directors to get together at the library, where we spent the better part of a day kind of hammering out, all the details based on input from city council and trying to come up with meaningful goals and objectives that we could define, that would be measurable, as we roll this new strategic plan out. The plan that was submitted to you is the result of not only input by council and input by directors and other staff members, it's also based upon the fact that we had a community survey and a business survey conducted by Polco for the city and incorporating those interests and those concerns, calling out streets, calling out sidewalks, things where we did not score as well as we would like to see. And yet areas where we've really scored well, protecting those areas from falling off of the charts so that they would fall to an unfavorable level at some point on resurvey in the future. So with that, the plan is presented to you. We believe it does provide a very clear roadmap that is tied directly to our surveys, your input, your staff experts' input, as well as the general public who participated. And we thank everyone who participated in the survey or surveys, because it really does help us to steer and guide not only the strategic plan's development, but as you know, our annual operating budget, our annual capital improvement plan and budgets are really all based upon what we do with this strategic plan. So with that, we're wholeheartedly recommending approval as the plan as submitted to you. And upon adoption by council, we will move forward with developing a new work plan, which will result in the action planning reporting that you've been accustomed to receiving quarterly. So that is the next step in the process, and we're looking forward to it. I know everybody's excited on staff to get going on that.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Castro and Stock. Any discussion? Mr. Schmidt?
Overall, I think this has done a great job capturing everything. Very happy with where we are landed. I do have one persnickety issue.
Okay.
I was hoping you could help me understand the proper definition or way to be thinking about regional approach, as in investigate regional approach to supplying water to other local governments.
Yep.
Obviously, you know, my concern is that regional approach implies us ceding some control.
Okay, I'm more than happy to speak to that. Hearing what was stated earlier, obviously there was some discussion a few years ago about possibly looking at a regional authority over all water supplies in the Illinois Quad Cities, both Rock Island, Moline, East Moline predominantly, and then Silvis as well, right? Possibly Milan, you know, and Coal Valley, you know, is a whole nother issue. We've moved past that point, and what we're really looking at is you have a comp plan that you are developing over the next 12 to 13 months. You have an area south of this city which has gone undeveloped literally since the last comp plan in 2001. That comp plan called for predominantly large lot, single-family residential development. That didn't happen, okay? What we do, or what this council does with input from the community, with the comp plan, will determine the future of the property south of the Rock River, as well as the infill development within our own corporate limits on this side of the Rock River, bounded by on the north by Mississippi. You know, we have not an infinite supply of water, but we have an excess supply of water based on the fact that we are a post-industrial city, and that water demand that was present then is no longer present, and this supply that we inventory daily is available for future use. Some of it we've sold to the city of Silvis, and they pay handsomely for it. They're not gouging, but they pay handsomely for the water. There was expression of interest to buy water by the village of Moline at one point. It's a private conversation, but it's a public matter. So rather than simply creating the authority, we would continue perhaps to explore alternatives with the other cities in selling water to them at a wholesale rate, as opposed to entering into an intergovernmental agreement to create an authority. I hope that answers your question.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to remove the words regional approach to from goal 1.2A.
Is there a second?
Regional
Second.
How would it read?
Mr. Schmidt.
So it would then read, investigate supplying water to other local governments. I believe Mr. Vitas has heard my concerns, and I think most of the staff and those of us on council would be thinking of that. However, my fear is that this is potentially going to last longer than just this council, and that this is a goal that can stick around, and this is something that, if we leave in the words about a regional approach, may bring us back to a place where we start to talk about some sort of overseeing body like RICMA. And we have seen that when we have relied on RICMA for services like recycling, that we, even as one of the largest contributors there, do not maintain control of that. And I think that caused problems in recycling, but we've been able to deal with it. But going into that sort of a problem, or that sort of someone driving us back toward an intergovernmental agreement about our water is not something I'm willing to leave on the table for future conversations based on something that I put my name to. So I believe very strongly we need to look at supplying that, and I recognize there may even be a need to create some sort of regional authority that's not truthfully overseeing the water, but maybe an intermediary or something, but those words are not something I'm comfortable with.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Should I go back and?
So, yeah,
How
at
many
this,
ayes
at
did we
this
have?
point, you have the amended motion, so you don't need to ask for another motion, you just have to have another vote on the motion as amended.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Because there's now been an amendment, you still have the motion pending, and you now have to have a vote on the motion as amended.
Okay. So just ask,
But I believe we've got an
Question.
additional comment.
Mr. Timmon.
Bob,
Yeah.
2.1, the heading says stabilize and grow Moline's population through improved housing opportunities. 2.1A only talks about increasing housing categories. Is there an appetite to measure population growth, whether we put a number to it or not? Because I know that can be lofty. But is there an appetite for a sub-goal to increase by X percent, or, I mean, goals are left vague intentionally, I understand that.
Yeah. Certainly as a task, an effort, I think putting a percentage in there is dangerous. Because if you put it in and you exceed it, fantastic. If you don't, you fail. The reality is that for 10 years since the last decennial census, we've lost population, and it may have been a bit of a miscount, and we know that.
Right.
And we don't know what's going to happen in that next census. What we do know, what we do control, is approvals for new housing development in the city. And many of the downtown projects that are going to happen are going to result in an increase in population to some degree, unless people are moving within the city to other locations. But it will generate growth. What percentage growth? I couldn't tell you. What numerical growth is easy to identify based on a number of units and then applying a factor, which planners are great at doing, right? They can tell you it's like 1.2 or 1.5.
I think that's fair. Number of units is adequate, considering frankly, it's a very political matter right now with census and who's counted, who's not. And
That's correct.
we
That's
might
the
not
problem.
be able to trust it consistent. It won't be apples to apples from every decade. So I think number of units is probably a good measure.
No, and I think realistically, when you go back and look at, comprehensive plan data that was prepared back in 2001, there was some ambitious ideas as to where our population would be today. And in reality, we missed the mark by more than 100%. So we need to be mindful of that when this new company starts to reflect data, that data is accurate as to be included in an adopted comprehensive plan, especially because it is outside of the Rock River. So this amendment, so that I'm clear, removes that item entirely? Or did you just simply reward it?
Reword
I
it.
didn't hear it all.
Oh, I just removed the word, or we, rather,
The
Just remove the
council,
words regional approach to.
okay, got it.
And we already said.
And at this point, there wasn't an additional amendment, just discussion. So you can call for the ayes and the nays on the motion as amended.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None? Okay, that passes. We now move to our informationals. Item 10.1, the September 2025 status and information report. Mr. Vitas?
Okay, thank you very much. I will be brief this evening since the night is pressing on, it's after 7. Very quickly, just a few things. Obviously, this evening, you're approving the consultant for the comprehensive plan update. That's fantastic. We started that 4 years ago. It was in the strategic plan, and it's good to see we're moving forward with that. And as you know, once that is done, the comprehensive update or comprehensive rezoning would take place on the heels of that. So we are moving, hopefully, on schedule to get things done. The design process for Central Fire Station is about to get underway over for the Central Station on 7th Street. I will point out for Parks and Rec, the playground installation at the Moline Little League. You haven't been by there, you haven't seen the big baseball. I'm sure that's a hit, popular with the little kids who play on the playground while their older siblings are playing baseball. And then last but not least, I just want to mention again, the groundbreaking next week for our South Slope reconstruction project, which is the single largest project, as we've said before, in the city for $113 million. You know, it is setting us up for the future. It is keeping us in compliance with the IEPA requirements for measuring discharge into the Rock River. And this is a plant that also, of course, is regional and provides 100% of service to Coal Valley, as well as a portion of East Moline. That being said, I'm here for any questions if there are any others.
Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Now move on to item 10.2, artisan zoning and Maker District. Mr. Price?
We just wanted to provide a quick update on an initiative that we've been working on. So we get a lot of, and it's great, you know, the mayor shares a lot of, when she's at conferences, she shares a lot of ideas with us. So this is a cool idea of like where an idea comes to staff, right? And the idea that was sent to us is artisan zoning, which is effectively an indoor workspace where people are producing, creating things, but it's got that artistic feel to it, right? So it's not an industrial use. A lot of times over the years, zoning codes may classify it as something more industrial or manufacturing, but the idea here is this is something that fits in well in commercial districts, in some cities, possibly even in neighborhoods, even though we may not go that extreme. So the more we looked into this is actually something that's already allowed in our form-based code. The only difference being, or stipulation being, that they are required to have a storefront in the storefront districts of the form-based code, right? But there's certain things that are limited, storage becomes limited, the amount of nuisances and things like that, odors, smoke, you know, things like that are limited. So we got this idea from the mayor. We took it to our plan commission and got an interesting idea from our plan commission, which was, yes, it's great to think about new uses and opening up districts, but have you thought about targeting, or excuse me, opening up neighborhoods and commercial corridors, but have you thought about targeting a district for this? Have you thought about really taking an area of the city and saying, let's really program it for this or look at its ability? And so our economic development staff embraced the idea and kind of looked at things that have been happening around the country too, but we really zoomed in on the Old Town District as a place where, you know, it's struggled over the years to find what its identity is going to be, how it's going to redevelop. And so we really thought about this idea of an artisan district or like a Moline Maker District and trying to reach out to the property owners there, reach out to the existing businesses that are kind of making things, whether they're involved with food or crafts or things like that. And really trying to go up there, do a building inventory and see if this is something that would work in that area. So we wanted to come to council and just give you an update on this, make sure we have the buy-in from council to even start that outreach, and let you know what we've been working on. So if we went forward with this, it would obviously involve the idea of creating a district, which means a brand, right? A branding, signage, other things that might show you that that district is there. You've got to have the property owners buy into it, so you've got to have some of those early champions of a cause like that. And then you probably need to tailor it with incentives that would encourage people to actually do this, and obviously have the public outreach to bring others on board. So this is just a list of cities around the country that have some kind of artisan zoning, some kind of artisan district. Yes, a lot of them are larger cities than us, but that obviously hasn't scared our council and our mayor from looking at ideas that are working in larger cities too, right? So the one we really want to focus on here of all these is the Columbia, Missouri. This is the Loop in Columbia, Missouri. You can see that there's a lot of branding that goes into selling this district. These are excerpts from the plan that are hard to see here, but the idea is you create a district with a feel to it, right? With similar signage, with similar branding ideas. Sometimes this happens organically, and we're gonna try and have this happen a little less, organically, where we actually go out there and talk to property owners. So some other districts that are happening around the country, like in Bozeman, Montana, Nashville, Tennessee, and some other places. And the Rhino District was something that Chris Parr in Denver was used to too, the River North District, which became kind of a organic art district that people kept going and putting these orange rhinos on all the buildings, and the district kind of kept spreading just organically that way. So we would, as we build this out and we talk to property owners, like I said, the idea would be to have some incentives that may encourage a new business to come into that area to either fix the facade or make improvements to the building, maybe purchase equipment, things like that. But we also don't want to leave out the existing businesses. So I think part of the incentives are going to have a way where we encourage an existing business there to make some improvements or help them out as well. So we're looking at maybe the idea of forgivable loans. I will tell you that while we've been having more success with our facade program, we're still going through our 2024 money. So we have the 2025 money that's still sitting there. Perhaps what we look at is taking the 2025 facade money, if it doesn't all get spent over the next month or two, because we do have a couple of people we're talking to. Maybe that can be something that gets, if you're interested in this idea, maybe the artisan zoning pot can come from that. So Plan Commission was generally supportive of the idea. They do understand that, okay, the district, you got to have people playing along with you for the district to work out. So Plan Commission's thought was, even if the district doesn't work in Old Town, you can look other places, or you can just generally pursue some land use and zoning revisions to allow more uses in these buildings. But they were in favor of the idea. I think one of the Plan Commissioners too kind of mentioned, well, this may be something that works better downtown. So we'll keep that in mind if we have your blessing and focus on Old Town. We will keep that in mind, that ultimately may not work there for a variety of reasons. If we go forward with your blessing, we would then move on to a building and a storefront inventory, because we've got to see specifically what buildings are available up there. We would start reaching out to property owners to find those early adopters and champions of it, and we would look to have a public meeting and then reevaluate from there. So just looking for your feedback and let you know what we're up to on this.
Are there any questions or comments? Murphy?
I'm excited about this in Old Town. I hope it works, because I would like to see some renovation up there and some new ideas. So you got my vote.
I'm excited too, and glad that you discussed Old Town. The incentives, are those for, are they strategic for businesses that you want to attract, like artisans? Are they for, my mind was going like, our bicycle shop, the owner's a bike builder.
Sure.
And I consider that high art, right? And a lot of people do. Or there's artisan pizza. Who are the incentives? Are we targeting businesses, I guess?
Yes, we would want to target businesses. And we've already thought about this, like I said, with, okay, well, you don't really want to exclude the existing businesses that have been there all along if they want to make improvements. So I think you have to have a way that you're bringing the existing businesses on too. But we haven't sorted all that out yet, so it's not set in stone. We're happy to get any input that you have. But we have thought about forgivable loans, or loans where they have a little bit of skin in the game and we can forgive that over time. We've thought about facade improvements. And we, like I said, have thought about, okay, if we have makers out there that aren't necessarily in Moline, if we want to make this be the spot in the Quad Cities for that, we can reach out to other businesses too. But we do, as I say that, we do have to remember our economic development philosophy of not poaching from other cities too. So we do have to remember that.
And I'm just saying, because I know we're early in the process, but it might be really hard to define art or artisans, right? If that's who we're going to provide incentives to, but
Yeah.
I look forward to the challenge.
Right. So we've
Yeah.
thought about some of those.
Yeah.
Okay, they've got food, and there's obviously a creative component to that.
Yep.
Obviously with furniture, other things. So I think a bike could be. I think there's definitely a creative aspect to a bike. It's something you have to design, right? It's like a new model comes out every year. I mean, to me, it seems like something that would work.
I think Old Town is perfect. Obviously, we can't force people to do things. My initial thought was 16th Street, but that is a busier street. Here in Old Town, especially on 18th Avenue, not a lot of traffic. And there's historical storefronts,
Right.
which, it used to be a commercial center for that neighborhood before cars ruined everything. Another option could be part of the Eastgate TIF district.
Right.
We have another old commercial area down there, and that area needs, I think both of these areas they need something because they've just been struggling. Or alternatively, the edge of the south edge of downtown, is a great opportunity too, right along, what are we on, 7th Avenue, or even 6th. There's a lot of old storefronts that I think are just looking for an identity. So I've lived in cities that have had these when I was in Oak Park.
Yep.
Huge artist district. There were festivals there, street art. The crosswalks were funky. It was a place to go. And when I lived in Salt Lake City, the art district, which was primarily galleries and then turned into maker spaces, always preceded massive economic development. And so this attracts development, it attracts money, it attracts tourism. People want to live near it. So I think wherever it ends up will benefit the city.
And as we've talked about, okay, we want to open these buildings up. We want to make it less restrictive to do these things. I do think we need to strategically think about that storefront requirement because we do want to find a way to activate that space. So even if it's not, okay, you have to have a storefront, maybe we think about how they interact with the public if we want to try and get walkability happening.
Well, and I think that's a requirement too for a district like this, is that it's walkable, because I would advocate for the east end, but I don't think no matter what happens with infrastructure down there, that we're really gonna be able to create a walkable district there, right?
With Illinois
seems-
92, it's hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And
that's why Old Town is really attractive, I think.
we felt that was a little harder with the Uptown District too
Right.
along 16th because it was just more of a people driving through.
Big fan. Love seeing all those pictures of what they've been able to do in Columbia. When I lived in Columbia, there's only like 2 reasons to go up to that part of town, and one was to go to U-Haul, and a couple of the more outlaw kind of bars were up there, and that was about it. I think Old Town's that right place. When we think about doing it to the downtown, that does not appeal in the same way, because at least not for the focus on building a district. I agree we should continue to allow them to be there. If someone feels they're going to do better in the downtown, but that has a different feel than us trying to kind of redefine what sort of is already developing a little bit. And I think our focus going elsewhere is going to get us a lot more options. Of course, we have to get into that and make sure it's actually feasible and those pieces. But I would, if Old Town doesn't work, I would prefer to find a different neighborhood that works or a different location before we just go to downtown, because we don't want to put all our development in 1 or 2 places.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a lot of development happening in downtown.
I feel like, looking for that district option is kind of shooting for the stars, whereas if we ultimately can't make that happen, and we at least have this idea of, okay, we can open these buildings up for more uses, and then we can look at just all these areas like East End, the older parts of Avenue of the cities, Old Town, Uptown, opening up for something like this.
Just really, before I forget, Old Town already has, if I recall, 2 stores that would fit this criteria. I'm gonna butcher it, the guys that make the hand-carved spoons, I think they're there. There's a woodworking place. And also there's an artisan high-end yarn store there that gears towards people. When Joann's closed, they opened up this shop. So there's already people, I think, capitalizing on the cheaper rent in this district for this kind of space. And so it could be a logical evolution.
I think you're thinking of a cut above.
A cut
He
above.
does woodworking, it's not the spoon.
Okay, then I was thinking
Different person.
But it is a cut above, you're right.
But, and other aspects, I think, having restaurants, bars, there's a couple restaurants there, there's 2, maybe 3 bars, I don't know. So those things, the walkability, I think it does have some of those elements. I don't know if the Belgium Heritage Center is still there, but items like that, if it's still there, stuff like that, obviously, it's not like open, it's volunteer run and whatnot, but if you have more of those, you do have some elements there that could be kind of just, if we can stimulate more creativity, some branding, some marketing, all of that stuff. I think that's what some of these businesses might need, and maybe some of the younger like bar owners or whatnot, they could kind of provide more feedback. I remember walking through the streets there and just talking to some of the business owners years ago, and they had some good ideas, but there's no like merchants group in that area, and I think that would be key for anything like this, because they're the stakeholders and they're the ones that could really, if we get their buy-in, they could really make it work.
That was a plan commission note from Sam Moyer, who was on the city council last time something was tried to happen. Like, initiative was tried up there, and he was like, just keep in mind, you may get some negative pushback from the property owners, which is something we understand. We're not afraid to go up there and start the conversation and see where it goes, and try and sell them on the idea.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mathias.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that concludes the committee of the whole agenda. Now we move our council meeting. I call the meeting of the city council for September 9th, 2025 to order. Please stand if you are able for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Castro, do you have an invocation?
I do not.
Madam Clerk, please roll call.
Alderperson Murphy,
Present?
Macias,
Present.
Razak,
Present.
Timian,
Present.
Finch,
Present.
McNeil,
Present.
Castro,
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
We do not have any remote electronics attendance this evening. Chief, is there a public comment?
Your Honor, I request approval of Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of August 19th, 2025. Committee of the Whole Council and Executive Session meeting minutes of August 26th, 2025. Appointments made at Committee of the Whole on September 9th, 2025. And consent agenda items 18.1 through 18.5 and 19.1 through 19.5 inclusively.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Castro.
Second.
Razak got second.
So Castro and Razak? Okay. All right.
Any discussion? Non-consent agendas?
It's roll call. You'll ask me to call rolls.
Roll call.
Alderperson Castro?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
McNeil?
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, and that motion carries. Non-consent agenda resolutions. Item number 21.2, a resolution authorizing the Director of Public Works to execute an application for funding under the Rock Island County Waste Management Agency for the Solid Waste Assistance Grant Program for the amount of $42,985 to be used for solid waste management, recycling, or educational related activities within the community, and authorizing the Director of Public Works to do all things necessary to complete and submit said application.
Motion to approve.
Do I have to
Second.
read that though? Right after, let's read that, right?
That's okay. You can have the motion.
Okay. Okay, motion by Timian, second, Razak.
Okay.
Okay, so we're on item 21.3, right?
We have to call roll.
Oh,
I'll do that.
okay. Roll call?
Alderperson Castro?
Aye.
Alderperson Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
McNeil?
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, and that motion carries. Item number 21.3, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a licensing agreement with Bent River Brewing Company for use of parking lot W and 4th Avenue A alley between 17th and 18th Street to sell alcoholic liquor in conjunction with the Rouse Consulting Group 30th anniversary block party on September 25th, 2025.
This appeared on the committee of whole agenda earlier. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Second.
Castro and Macias. Any discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
I believe.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. Mr.
Yeah,
Schmidt?
Rouse Consulting Group is a client of mine, and so I will be recusing myself.
Okay. Okay. Hearing none, please, a roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro?
Aye.
Alderperson Murphy?
Aye.
Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
McNeil?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. That motion carries. Sorry. Right. Sorry about that. Item number 21.4, a resolution amending the fiscal year 2025 budget adopted by City Council on December 3rd, 2024. Council Bill / Resolution number 1174-2024 to reflect various changes to line items more particularly described herein, and authorizing the Director of Finance to do all things necessary to complete said changes.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. Schmidt. Macias.
Schmidt and Macias.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
McNeil?
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. And that motion carries. Non-consent agenda, first reading ordinances. Item number 22.1, an ordinance amending Chapter 35 zoning and land development of the Moline Code of Ordinances regarding public hearing notice requirements, including amendments to Article 2, Division 2, Section 35-2201, common elements of procedures, and Section 35-2202, comprehensive plan amendment, and Section 35-2203, zoning and land development code amendment and rezoning.
This appeared on the committee of whole agenda earlier. Is there a motion to advance the second reading?
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
McNeil?
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 22.2, an ordinance amending Chapter 22 offenses miscellaneous of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 22-1105, tobacco products, tobacco accessories, smoking herbs, and alternative nicotine products by increasing the number of Class C head shop licenses in the city of Moline at the request of AAA Retailers LLC, DBA Yabba-Dabbas.
This appeared on the committee of whole agenda earlier. Is there a motion to advance the second reading?
Motion to advance the second reading.
Second.
Razak.
Macias and
Razak.
Razak, okay.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
McNeil?
Nay.
7 ayes, 1 nay, and that motion to advance to second reading carries. Item number 22.3, an ordinance amending Chapter 22 offenses miscellaneous of the Moline Code of Ordinances, Section 22-1105, tobacco products, tobacco accessories, smoking herbs, and alternative nicotine products by increasing the number of Class B incidental tobacco dealers licenses in the city of Moline at the request of AAA Retailers LLC, DBA Yabba-Dabbas.
This appeared on the committee of whole agenda earlier. Is there a motion to advance the second reading?
Motion to advance the second reading.
Mr. Macias?
Second.
Mr. Schmidt? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
McNeil?
Nay.
All right, 7 ayes, no nays, or 1 nay, and that motion to advance to second reading carries.
Okay, that brings us to agenda item 23, miscellaneous business. Ms. Murphy?
I have
Nothing, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Nothing you're on.
We do not have executive session tonight.
No, we do not.
We need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Schmidt? Mr. Timian? Roll call, please.
Alderperson Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
McNeil.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays.
Thank you.
Nice job.